Good afternoon. This is John McAllister with the McAllister Scouting Report and a version of Coach's Corner. Today I'm doing something a little bit different. I've been working on a video podcast for Upper Sandusky people, Upper Sandusky, Ohio, and people that I would like to talk to. So with doing that, I'm also involved with Coach's Corner, and I went in and talked with the head women's volleyball coach at Ohio Northern, and it's Ms. Katie Kuhn. She's a local girl from near in Wyandotte County, and she's also the college volleyball coach. And so I thought, I'm still working on this. I'm trying to get it all together, but I did an interview with her, and I would like you to sit back and listen and enjoy the broadcast. Katie Kuhn, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. It's Monday morning. Here we are.
Women's volleyball coach at Ohio Northern. Okay.
Correct.
And tell me, first of all, recently this past year, let's start. We're going to go big and go downhill. So how did you people do this year, your ladies?
We did well this year. So we actually won the regular season conference. So the Ohio Northern Volleyball team is a part of the OAC, which is the Ohio Athletic Conference. What I think is one of the best conferences in Division III volleyball, if not the best. So we won the regular season. We're fortunate enough for that. And then also to go on and win the Ohio Athletic Conference tournament. So we were able to host that and win, and then got a berth to go to the NCAA, which is awesome. We don't take any of those for granted. And we ended up traveling out to Iowa. So traveled out to Iowa and played out there in the NCAA, and the girls got the experience out there. Didn't go the way that we were obviously hoping for. We were hoping for a win. Didn't get that, but the experience, and hopefully we can take some of the lessons we learned and bring them back and apply them again. So overall, a very successful year, and not a lot of drama, which sometimes with young women, you get some drama too. And so there was success that way as well. So
that sounds good. Okay, let's go now, because I consider local. You're a Mohawker. But you live near Upper Sandusky now. You go to an Upper Sandusky church. Mm-hmm. So you're an Upper Sandusky person to me. Tell me, where did it start? How did you start playing sports or volleyball?
Well, sports started at a very young age in my life. If anyone knows my father, Joe Weininger, we started sports when I was probably just started walking. So fortunate enough to have an older brother, Brant, who we competed against one another growing up all the way up through. And then my dad and mom both got us involved in sports at a very young age. So my dad was a coach. It actually started with basketball. Basketball was the first sport that I got involved in, and was able to play at a young age in 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. And then I also remember I did some track events, and they got me involved in running in some very random track and field times that way with the state of Ohio. And then started playing softball as well, got involved in some travel softball. And then volleyball was actually the latest sport that I started. So fell in love with the sport of volleyball at a little bit of an older age, and started playing club volleyball and got involved in that as well. So I'm a sports junkie. We're a sports family. There's no doubt about it. My father was a coach as well, and my grandpa, and actually my mom and my aunt there too. So I have sports people all around me and coaches that I'm surrounded with.
That's really good. Your mother is a tennis player. In fact, I'm not so sure that's not where they met. We don't have time to talk about it right now. Your dad is an amazing guy, and I believe that. Mm-hmm. Okay, with that being said, why coach?
I didn't plan this.
Excuse me. You went to Ohio Northern to play volleyball, and you got quite a little bit of money to play volleyball. But why coach then?
I Honestly, to be real with you, coaching wasn't necessarily where I thought I would end up. I didn't know. What I enjoyed so much is I enjoy the teamness. I enjoy the culture. I enjoy growing young women. I also enjoyed teaching. I think teaching is in my blood. I think that's something that almost every single person in my family is involved in some part of the educational process of young people. And I just think that was something that was very innate to me and very natural. And so I ended up going and doing my grad work and was able to be a graduate assistant at Ashland University with their volleyball program. And that kind of led into then coaching. And I was able to then come back to Ohio Northern and coach under my head coach and then be able to learn under her, Kate Whitty, who coached for 29 seasons here at Ohio Northern prior to me and is a legend here. And so I was fortunate enough to have that. I just love the process. I love being able to teach young women. I love being able to see light bulbs go off. I love just being a part of all of it, and growing them through, I guess, the sport of volleyball. So if you would have asked me when I was young if this is what I would be doing, I don't think I would have been able to say that. But now I'm totally engrossed in it.
Let me tell you, that's super. And we need more women like you. We need more men like you with that drive. Sometimes I don't know if they have that drive or not. Sometimes, it's like a till it becomes an inconvenience and then it's not. And I've dealt with college football coaches for 30 years, and the younger ones are different than the older ones.
Mhm.
There's more wisdom with the older ones, and the younger ones are getting there. Anyway, I tell you my one volleyball joke, and then we'll go on to something else. I was sitting with the girls, Lakota girls were playing volleyball. They had a good team, okay? And a girl from another team, I forget if it was Oak Harbor or Hopewell, one of those schools, spiked one. Do they still use that terminology? They,
It's a little bit of an older term, but we all know what you mean. Attack the ball, yes.
Well, I still have digs. But anyway, she hit one, and one of our Lakota girls took it smack right in the face. I mean, went down, okay? And really just went down and held her face. She played later, came back, but it hurt me, tears in her eyes and all that, which anybody would. But I looked to one of the football players and I said, man, she hits harder than you ever did. They didn't like that very well, but it's a tough sport.
It
That's
is.
what I was crawling to. It's a tough sport.
It is.
Okay, let's go. You go back to what you kind of talked about. With men, it's a big thing. One sport, one sport, one sport in high school. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm not all for one sport. I love multi-sport athletes. I actually just got off the phone with a young woman last night who plays basketball and also runs track and then does volleyball as well. And we're very attracted to her as an athlete because I think that the movement that happens in other sports is something that you can't teach. And the athleticism that they gain from being a part of other sports as well is something that we recruit. We recruit athletes that we believe that we can then teach some of the skills to. And then the other thing that happens for us on a fairly regular basis is burnout. Burnout just from only playing one sport and only being part of the same sport over and over and over again. It's tough. And when they get to our level and the commitment we're asking of them and even asking them to do more than maybe what they had done previously, now the burnout starts to happen. And so I've noticed with girls that the ones that started volleyball later, a lot of them continue to grow and get even better in college. And it's just because they still have that love and that drive, and it's very, I don't know, fresh to them. And so it's a little bit different. But no, not we recruit a lot of single sport athletes, and they're very good and they come and are very talented for us. But there is something to be said about the multi-sport athlete. And I hate that it's being lost in our sport culture now.
Mention club volleyball to me.
Yeah, so yeah, club volleyball is grown. Gosh, the scene of club volleyball is huge. I'm now going to tournaments where there's hundreds of teams and all different levels and traveling every weekend. And that never was a thing. It started when I started to play and was very fresh and very new. And we would play a couple tournaments and travel just, an hour or so away. And now the club scene has grown immensely where we're flying places. And that's where I do most of my recruiting is in the club season when we're going to see young women.
See, that's what I think. That's what I tell about baseball players. They'll talk about, and I said, it's sad, but you have to play summer baseball.
Yep.
That's where, well, I want to talk about more things, but there's my philosophy. You get healthy. A baseball player, he gets healthy on a team that's not very good, and then he goes on a team that's really good against, and he goes 0 for 3. And I ask him, oh, I think he was a junior. He's going to play club baseball or travel baseball. Mm-hmm. And I said, a good team. And I said, what happens if you go down to Cincinnati and you go 1 for 10? How are you going to feel? Because you're going to face, what's that attitude? And I think that's what coaches have to look for sometimes.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
What should girls be doing now, Katie?
As far as for the recruiting process?
Well, we'll go to that. Getting ready to play. What should a volleyball player be doing now?
Well, I think as many touches on the ball is what you can get. And we try to say quality touches. So as many times as you can be in the gym and getting good touches, if it's serving or if it's doing your footwork for attacking, hitting the ball, being a setter, setting up against the wall, whatever it may be. And the more touches you can get, we find then even the better technique that they have. And so being involved in that. And I think also getting involved with, if it's a club, being involved with your high school, getting lessons, doing things along those lines and getting yourself involved. Not everyone's fortunate enough to have a high quality high school team. It just kind of depends where you are. And so if you're able to get more lessons and teaching through the club scene as well, that's helping there too. And then I guess I would be starting with, if it's working out or learning a drive and learning how to work hard, I think that's another area for young women there too, that when they get to us, a lot of times we have to learn some of that of what it looks like to work hard at the next level. And so I think that's the other thing there too, is it's kind of a twofold.
For sure. And do they like volleyball or do they love volleyball?
Mm-hmm. And that is definitely what we see. And some think they love it until we get here. And then, it's not at that level, or, academics become a bigger role, or they find other things they want to be involved in. And it's really fun when you get the kid that loves the game and just loves to be around it and wants to watch film and wants to be in the gym and wants to do all of those things. But I'll tell you, they're rare. We don't get probably as many as we used to, but they're fun. They're a joy to be able to coach.
Honestly, they're rare on the Division I level. They're rare in Division I football. Mm-hmm. Love or like, and there's a difference.
Yep.
And like even at the Ohio State, that's the same thing. There are a lot of guys that just like it, like being there. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I'm not Curb Street here, so I got to be quiet. What would you look for if you're recruiting, say I don't want to say a high-profile girl, but what do you look for in qualities? You're the head coach. I've done this forever with football. What do you look for? What qualities does a young girl have to come for you to get more than just you get after it a little bit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, obviously, any of the young women that we're recruiting have the physical or athletic abilities or the things that way. And honestly, it's the intangibles that set them apart. And so some of the things that we talk about when I call them on the phone and have conversations with them, it's more just tell me about yourself. I put them in scenarios like, tell me about a time when adversity hit for you and what did you do? Or how would your teammates describe you? And so we definitely look for young women that are driven, that are working hard. That's something. I'm a big communicator. So young women that are able to talk, are honest, and work through that as well. And then I think a big thing for us is volleyball is a team sport. And so ones that talk about their team and talk about the team being the most important thing, and how they give to their team and what they look like as a leader, that's huge, because in volleyball you can't do it all yourself. Somebody has to pass it, someone else has to set it, someone else has to hit it. And so I think that is an area that we talk about a lot, is what's your role, and how do you fulfill that role within the team. And so that is definitely something that we talk about with our young one once they get here, but also when we're recruiting them as well, is what are they going to look like within our team, and what values do they have that way.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did you get five in there or not? I think
I don't know,
you
I
got
might have only
five.
gotten four.
But when it all comes down to it, there's not much difference between young man and a young woman when it comes to sports. I mean, you got to have the same intangibles. I will be silly with players just to see how they react,
Hmm.
and then see. And it sounds like there's my students in school used to always tell me there's a method to McAllister's madness, but there's a reason why you joke around and stuff like that.
Well, and I
Okay.
always I always tell them too, like, I watch huddles, I watch timeouts, I watch what they do with their parents in between matches. Like, there's times when I go and watch that the girls don't even know that I'm there, because I want to see how are you interacting, or I like when they're not playing well. Then what are you doing? And it's all of those things. Like, it's easy when things are going well, when you're winning or when you're hitting really well or your team's playing well, that's easy. What happens when you're down, or what happens when you're having an off game, or when your coach is getting on you? Like, well, how are you responding? And so we watch all of those extra things. How do you greet your parents after a loss? How do you talk to them after those things?
I'm
So
going to have to hire you, I think, because I go to basketball games just those very same things.
Mhm,
How
mhm.
does he look at the coach when he's getting hammered on? How does he react? Now, is he the first one out of the locker room to shoot, to open up, or is he the last one that
Mhm.
kind of
Yep.
dogs it some and things like? There are so many things, and you'd be surprised. I think that's why what I did. I'm slowing down now, but what I did, because I could tell anybody can look at video and say, "Hey, you can do this," or well, but you can't. You got to see what they're like when it's crunch time.
Mhm.
You know, will they get you that first down when it's 4th and 1 and you're behind by 6 on the 3-yard line, or they'll get it for you when you're up by 30, and on the
Mhm.
enough of my preaching here. It's just about okay. I know you have two youngsters. Okay, how are you going to expose them to sports?
They already are getting
Your
exposed.
husband played sports too, I think,
My
didn't
Yes, he did. My husband was involved. Actually, my husband and I met here at Ohio Northern. So he was a collegiate swimmer, and
he?
was a freestyle swimmer, did the sprint. So he was an all OAC, all conference swimmer as well. So very athletic.
Mm.
Yeah, guy now. We get to play sand volleyball in the summer, so it's fun. We get to compete and so forth. But our kids are I would like to think our kids are already very exposed to it. So yeah, my daughter Susie is 6 and my son Geyer is 4, and they're awesome and a hoot already, and involved in soccer and gymnastics and basketball, and haven't started the volleyball thing yet, but doing a number of other things. But I'm very blessed here at Northern that my kids can be around. So they come with us. They come to practice with me sometimes on a Saturday morning. And the girls love them. And my kids love to be in the gym. They ask regularly, but now that they're in school, it's a little bit harder, to
Right,
get them to come. But I think it's so neat for them to see. Um, they have no idea what they have of being around a college and
right,
being around
right.
collegiate athletes. They have no clue. But
Yeah.
it's so cool. I mean, they come in and talk to our men's basketball coach and go watch a practice and get to dribble a ball and shoot in our gym, and then run down and talk to our women's basketball coach, and it's very neat, that aspect. And so just trying to get them to be in the office with me and getting to be in a practice setting, and they come to matches and they get to watch and do all of those things. And I think it's really cool for them to be able to hear, like, yeah, my mom's a coach, and and that competitiveness that's already coming out in them. Like, we have game nights at our house and they're already becoming competitive little things, and understand what winning and losing is. And and also some of the, the traits, I guess, to have as a human being. And so, yeah, it's been neat already to get them involved in things. And I'll tell you, Geyer's pretty competitive. So my little 4-year-old.
I was going to mention that. It's too bad your dad isn't, though. Too bad
Well,
what.
oh no, and I'm
I'm
not either.
I'm
None of
joking.
that rubbed off on me, let me tell you, John. That
Okay, last question, and I want to touch on this because I think it's huge. You also lead the Bible study for women's at Ohio Northern.
Yeah, it's been really neat. Yeah, God's been pushed me quite a bit to keep sharing my faith and just being a part of that and really exposing young women. I'm fortunate to be a part of Ohio Northern, which is Methodist affiliated, but is able to have that as well. And so I started a Bible study with our not just our volleyball players, but with young women student athletes here at Northern. And so we've had a few basketball players, some track athletes that have been a part of it. And then it was actually really neat this season. One of my current players on our team said that she felt really led to start a study within with our team. And so she started a Bible study, all them. I was not a part of it. And
That's really neat.
it's been so neat. I have 24 young women on the team, and there's been at least 17 to 18 of them that have come to Bible study at some point in time. And it's been really cool. We've been able to get some Bibles to girls as well, and some that have never known God and are starting a relationship. And I think it's just been cool to see our young women grow in that as well. And to be able to know that the door's open to be able to talk about those things too. And my relationship with Christ, and to know that I'm a believer there as well. So that part has been really, really cool. And I think God's really opened up a door for me to be able to, share my faith and talk about him.
Last question, but I really appreciate you being on. Obviously, This has been fun.
Yeah. No, thank you for having me.
We're not done yet. Okay. Just one more question. The grass sometimes isn't always greener. You still have to mow it. You still have to pull out the weeds. So what does it look? It's probably not a fair question, but you're very successful. Your team was this year. What does it look down the road for you? Now, I would also say I'm not messing with you because you drive door to door, 40 minutes with 30 now or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me and then we're done.
Yeah. I mean, John, I don't know what the future looks like. I have prayed about that a lot and have really asked. I have one of my words, and one of the things I've really thought about is to be present, to be really present in where I am right now. And I feel really good about where I am. I feel like I'm blessed to be able to lead a program that I feel very passionate about and very strong about. I have an amazing group of young women who make this job a joy. Do I have to deal with some things? Absolutely. But I think they make it. And right where I am right now, I'm really enjoying where I am in my season of life. Will things get harder? Could things change? I mean, I have children, and they're my number one priority, and my husband, and that relationship as well. But I feel very good about where I am. And I think that things just keep falling into place and keep working out. And if they wouldn't, then I think that another door will open and I'll be led there. But I love Ohio Northern University. I love what we stand for. And I think this has been a great place for me. And so we'll see. So I can't really answer that. A lot of people ask me that too. Like, what's the next goal, or where do you want to be next? And I really have been trying to be present where I am right now. And I love where I am. So, but I'll see. We'll see how
I think the other thing, not being, I'm being an old man, but you just know when And
Yep.
I'm a big believer in whispers and signs and all that stuff, but
Yep.
Anyway, well, Katie Kuhn, the head women's volleyball coach at Ohio Northern, I appreciate you being on, and maybe again sometime.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much for having me, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.